Hello and welcome, this is rooflemonger, and in today's video we are going to be talking about Jiren in Dragon Ball FighterZ and his unfortunate state. Now, I've been making a couple of videos lately about people who are kind of poor off in Season 3 of Dragon Ball FighterZ, and Jiren sadly is one of the biggest case examples of exactly that. Now, it's not even the first time we've been at these crossroads. Back when Season 3 was just a theory that Datamine was supporting, we did make a video exactly about Jiren, saving Jiren. And was Jiren saved by Season 3 of Dragon Ball FighterZ? Well, hey, not exactly. So to put an undeniable point on it at the moment, Jiren is one of the worst characters in this game, straight up. Like, there's no arguing it. You could say, hey, I guess he's better than Videl, which is how we talked about Android 16, better than Videl, which I don't know how great that is to be better than Videl. But yeah, Jiren is poor off. So let's head into training mode and let's talk about some of the aspects of the character. Now, when talking about Jiren being a poor character in Season 3 of Dragon Ball FighterZ, you gotta think, well, hey, didn't he get buffed? Yeah, he sucked in Season 2, but he got buffed, right? In Season 3? Yes, he did. 100% absolutely. Stuff like his physical counters, they got better, they do more damage, that's awesome. His down heavy in the air, the old crazy spin, that got a lot better and it solved a lot of issues with certain combo stuff, right? So that was fantastic for him and it's great. But here's the thing, none of it addressed the core issues of the character, and since the core issues are still glaring, the problems still persist. Well, hey, is there any redeeming values of this character? Of course. Jiren's got stuff going for him. Jiren has some of the better damage in the game, especially in the corner, right? He can easily get north of 4,000 even with scaling combo starters. So let's try some random combo here. I'm sure this is no longer anywhere near the optimal and you can do better, but just a quick example here. Blending some of the old stuff in the combo. Boom. Over 4K, right? And built over a bar and a half. So that's good. That's above average, really, honestly. So that works out. That's cool. That's great. He still got his stand S, right? Maybe a little less special now that UI Goku showed up, who got the same kind of stand S. One that you cannot homing dash through. It's basically like kind of like a mini beam in that regard. But yeah, it takes a little bit of the shine off it now that UI Goku can do it. And UI Goku, definitely a better character, but still, it doesn't take away that the move itself on Jiren is still good. His down S is still awesome. This guy here, the big old nuke, if there's anywhere above you, anyone at all, this is the biggest no-fly zone, and just kind of basically Jiren puts a big F off. Don't fly above him, right? That's still a great move. We got the down light, his unique normal, right? Because he doesn't have a traditional low-hitting down light. And this is a non-scaling starter. Most lights, whenever you start a combo with this light, it's going to scale the combo. This doesn't. And it comes in here, if we turn on our data, comes in at 10 frames, so it's pretty quick. Also, it's barely negative on block, so it's like good for staggers. But then we have the problem of like, oh man, it's a light that doesn't cause combo damage scaling. That's cool. Then we got someone like Adult Gohan, who has stand medium, which is 9 frames, which is freaking faster, right? And has a lot more range to work with too. So even though that's cool and is good for Jiren, it's immediately outshined by someone else that's something better. Jiren is one of the very, very few characters in the game that has a frame 1 counter move. So it happens the second you press the button. And yeah, so it's very strong in that way. It's very strong to put in any kind of gap and any kind of pressure. Even a lot of stuff that's designed to blow up gaps and pressure, like certain setups where they're jump attacking you, but it's designed to blow it down heavy. Hey, the EX counter doesn't care. And unlike a lot of the other characters that have a frame 1 counter, like say a Videl or say a Cooler, he only has to spend half a bar on it. Their bar investment is a lot more significant than his, right? So it's good for saving on bar. And since you have a frame 1 counter, it also means you're completely immune to safe jump setups and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's really cool. And basically, he has the best of all the frame 1 counters. And in Season 3, got damage buff. You lose a quarter of your life right off the bat before anything else, right? 2,500 damage. So yeah, it's really good, right? But once again, all these things that are cool and neat and fun for Jiren, they still don't address the core issues. So if we're going to talk about anything at all, might as well start with the showstopper, and that's, of course, his grab. So the grab replaces his standard heavy attack, meaning he does not get a standard heavy attack, period, right? So every other character in the game, if you hit heavy, you're going to get an attack some way, somehow, right? And it could be a little different character to character. But Jiren does not get that opportunity, right? He's got the grab. And his grab sucks, right? Like, Jiren's not a mix-up monster. And the idea here is if you've got a command grab, you don't need to be a mix-up monster because you got the grab. And being at 28 frames, it's just slow. Like, let's bring in Super Broly here, right? So Super Broly also has a quote-unquote slow command grab coming in at 24 frames, right? And it's been levied, well, this is a reactable grab, therefore I can just homing dash or jump out or vanish out if I see it, whatever for defensive aspects. And Jiren's is slower yet. And for the next part, like, I could bring in Big Broly because he's usually my go-to for explaining how fast grabs work in Dragon Ball FighterZ, but screw it. Let's bring in Android 18. Remember Android 18? She has grabs? She's got a 17-frame command grab. Like, yeah. So, just like Big OG Broly, she's got to grab just as fast as that, right? So, Jiren, who gives up one of his normals for the opportunity to grab, 18 is 10 times the grappler he'll ever be. And she definitely doesn't have one of the more noticeable or favorable command grabs in the game, but it's still 17 frames, and it's eminently more usable and just more of a threat than Jiren's ever will be because it's so slow. Like, look at a Dragon Rush. Dragon Rush hits in 19 frames, right? So, like, this thing's like 30% slower than a basic Dragon Rush. So the basic thing is here, like, why ever do it? Like, yeah, with anything, you'll always catch people asleep at the wheel. Not everyone's always going to react. Even the best players won't always react to 28-frame grab, right? Sometimes you're just not looking for it. But considering he gives up a core aspect of the game in a standard heavy attack for this grab, you'd think it'd be better, but man, it ain't. Like, I guess you can get your stand S off it. That's something, right? So if you were to get it in the corner, like, you get something better. But you know what? Hey, so does everybody. Like, what character doesn't get, you know, decent stuff in the corner that's, like, got more dedicated grappling buttons, right? So, man, like, it just sucks. Like, imagine if this was a special move instead of a normal, right? For Jiren, specifically, considering the state of the move as it is, I would gladly pay a bar, like an EX. I would gladly take an EX grab that is 17 frames, like the fast grabs in this game, considering how slow it is, right? But that's not even an option I get because it's a normal. And yeah, that just stinks. Now, technically, there is the grab option select. So you can basically just, when the grab would hit normally, that's when you hit your vanish. And if they're, for whatever reason, just not there, then your vanish can bop them, right? But one, it's worth a bar, and you don't get anything real off of it, as you can see there. And two, there's ways to really mess that over and screw it up if you know it's going to be happening. So it's just not really worth the trade-off of the slow move. So basically, long story short, like, I don't think this is too crazy to ask for. It should just be faster. At bare minimum, make it 24 frames. Many other grapplers have a 24-frame grappling move, right? That's kind of standard for most of the normal grapples in this game, minus some of the crazier ones that are more like unblockables, like Hit or Gogeta. So yeah, just make this 28-frame move 24 frames. Once again, I would literally pay bar for the option to be 17 frames, but that's probably not going to happen because it's a normal, and it's way too late in the game's life to make drastic changes to turn a normal into a special. But still, at the very least, just make it a bit quicker. As for some of the other classic problems, like Jiren still has the shoulder charge, which outside of like ending in a block string or just like some sort of TOD touch of death setup, it's kind of useless. Like, hey, cool, projectiles go through it, or rather it goes through projectiles. But, oh, and that's a punish, by the way, I couldn't block in time. It's not very reliable in what it does. For one, as you can see, I was literally punished. Once again, that was a punish again. I was holding back. So I can't even reliably go through stuff, and the distance it covers is so small. Like, man. Like, if you got an anti-projectile move, like, you know, a lot of times, if you got, you know, mean old Broly, OG Broly, Z Broly, especially at the end of the screen, just blasting you, like, man, that's when you want to do your big thing, your big charge, right? And no, this, like, literally has less range than, like, a basic dash forward. So yeah, man, like, the idea is sound for the move, like charge forward, beat projectile. That concept has existed in fighting games for a very long time. But since the distance is so small, it's relatively useless in its given role. So once again, easy fix. Just make it go faster. Make it go further. Like, give it something, right? I'd rather it be more negative on block and it can actually be used in its intended form than just like the -2 block string ender it currently is at. Season 3 of Dragon Ball FighterZ is all about the neutral more than any other season of the game beforehand, right? How you control and how you handle yourself mid-screen while moving back, forth, and all that, vying for position is what the game's all about now, right? And in that aspect, Jiren's very poor. Now, his stand S is certainly, it's workable, right? It's not the worst, it's not the best, it just exists, and it's decent enough what it does. But like something like his aerial key blast, right? Instant ARS is not a bad option, but in the end, it's still a basic key blast. So in this example here, Trunks can do his basic beam, right? And I get hosed, because I got a basic key blast and his stand S beats basic key blast. So just like Broly, just like Nappa. So in my opinion, like, this is a decent enough tool, but to make it actually, you know, stick, it should also beat basic key blast, like that category of moves. Same thing here with his jumping downwards version here. And that would also give it some value against, like, say, Z Broly. At the very least, he could, like, trade with the first hit of an upwards key blast or something before getting blasted out of the air. But speaking of key blasts, one of the ways he should have a rounded key blast is his projectile counter. And this move is basically a joke. So here's the long-standing issue that's always persisted. Jiren can next level you, hey, I definitely know you're going to do the thing. And therefore, aha, gotcha, right? But the long standing issue is this. Oh, you got me? Nah, I got you. Screw off, right? And of course, you know, the next issue is this. Like, if you really know it's coming, then haha, gotcha, Jiren, right? So that's a problem because you know he's going to be coming towards you, right? So at the very least, like, this move, Jiren should be a highly defensive character, right? Like, he's got all the counters and all the kind of stuff, right? And he should be able to just kind of sit and chill in a game where normally that's not the thing, to be kind of antithetical to a lot of what this game is. At least that's my original take on what he's supposed to be. But since this move doesn't work the way it's supposed to work, at least I don't think it is, you know, it doesn't get used, and therefore, you know, it's trash, right? If with like all sorts of neutral assists happening and, well, projectile based anyways, and people spamming key blasts, if you could just do this reliably and know you're going to get your damage, it completely changed the dynamic of the game, right? Then all of a sudden, his less than average neutral, all of a sudden gets a lot more respected because he can just sit. He sort of becomes like Dragon Ball FighterZ E Honda, if you will, right? But as it stands, this move that could potentially put the fear of God into a lot of players and a lot of different playstyles, instead, it's easy to get out of as one cheap vanish, and that's all there is to it. So herein we lie at the crux of the whole issue. Will there be more balance changes in Dragon Ball FighterZ future? I believe 100% absolutely. May be coming as soon as the next DLC character, whenever that will be. We don't know as of this time. And Jiren, and you know, other characters as we covered before, like Videl and Android 16, they're definitely on the more rough end of things. Now, I think Season 3 Dragon Ball FighterZ is the most balanced incarnation of the game we've ever had, to be sure. But, you know, why settle for that, right? If the top tier characters are still good, you know, Kid Buu's still strong, UI Goku's still strong, Base Vegeta's still strong, fine, that's great, let them be strong. But elevate some of the lesser characters, not even if necessarily to that level, but at least elevate them a bit, you know, just give them a little bit of a kick in the bum, and just give them some extra tools and extra little fun things to work with. And that is my biggest hope. So, will Jiren get a million buffs to make him top tier? Almost certainly not, right? But there's a lot of buffs on the table to be made, and they're very easy decisions to be made. That's the big thing, right? They're not hard things to think about. You know, charge sucks, grab sucks, fix these two things, right? Those two things alone, if you made them better, Jiren would be a lot better. Maybe not top tier, maybe not S rank, whatever, right? But he would certainly be a lot more usable than he currently is, which as it stands is not very, because the real question is, if you do play Jiren, why would you play Jiren outside of loyalty to the character if you're a fan of the character, right? outside of that, mechanically, there's no real reason to pick Jiren over, say, other characters. Even if you like the assist, Jiren has one of the better assists in the game. I love that assist, right? But then why not pick base Goku? Because he has that style of assist in a lot of ways, and he's definitely a better character, right? So, sorry if I'm rambling on this one a little bit here. I always felt strongly about this, that Jiren should be stronger. Now, I never thought, like, you know, character strength in the show should mean anything at all for the tiers. Because that's a really stupid way to balance things, honestly. But Jiren, he's Jiren, man. He's a big deal, and he sucks. He's sucked since the day he showed up into this game, and he's barely gotten better since then. Everyone's just passed him on by, right? So I think the character deserves better. That's what I'll say in the end. And with that said, my friends, so let me know what you think about the state of Jiren right now. And what would you change about Jiren if something were to be changed, where you'd give him any kind of buffs? Let me know what they are in the comments below. And other than that, that's the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Dragon Ball.